Chapter 8 is a pretty easy chapter. It deals with environmental issues. You are going to get questions, a few questions on environmental issues. But what I want you to know is that none of you are experts in these environmental issues. Any of your clients have any questions on anything, you got to guide them to the right resources. Now, the very first paragraph, first couple lines, what you need to know is that the Illinois EPA, the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, is the agency that is responsible for maintaining our air, land, and water quality. And they do this through education, through finding violators, through monitoring. The Illinois EPA is the agency that's responsible. Now, this next paragraph, asbestos. I'd like you to highlight, put an X by asbestos, and you can highlight the next two paragraphs after that. Now, asbestos is a fire retardant material. At one time, it was used in over 3,000 different types of building material. There's asbestos in brick, cement, mortar, roofing shingles, wiring, drywall, insulation. There's asbestos in vinyl tile, formica, ceramic tile. 3,000 different materials have asbestos in it. Now, asbestos is a known human carcinogen. It causes cancer. It's a real fine fiber. It's about 1,500 times smaller and finer than a human hair. And the thing is, when you breathe these asbestos particles, they get caught in your lungs or in your stomach, and being exposed to it, they say, as long as 10 to 20 years, you develop cancer. It's such a fine fiber that if you touch asbestos, it goes right through the pores of your skin. Now, you know that insulation they use in between the walls? They call that Pink Panther insulation. You ever touch that? Your hands itch, you scratch your forehead itches. Well, those little fibers are going right through the pores of your skin. And they have these little barbs on them, like fishhook barbs. So if they go in there, they don't come out. They don't even dissolve. So you got to be really, now, there are homes that have asbestos wrapping the pipes and everything else. The homeowner cannot remove the asbestos. You have to be certified. You have to be licensed. The asbestos has to be disposed of properly. And by moving asbestos, you put more contaminants in the air. Now, if asbestos is present, the first choice is encapsulation. This paragraph here that says, starting off with because improper removal, highlight, put an X by that paragraph. Because of improper removal procedures may further contaminate the air within the structure, the process requires state licensed technicians and specially sealed environments. The waste generated must be disposed of at a licensed facility, which further adds to the cost of removal. Encapsulation, that's the key word, is the first choice if there's asbestos present. Encapsulation is a method of sealing disintegrating asbestos, because by removing asbestos, you put more contaminants in the air. Asbestos is only dangerous when it crumbles and becomes airborne. That's when it's dangerous. Okay, next page, lead-based paint. Highlight, put an X by the next five, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs in these bullets over here too. Now, here's what you need to know, which is on this next page here. Regulations applied to housing built before 1978. 1978, lead-based paint. Now, up to 1978, they used lead in paint. 75% of the existing homes in this country have lead-based paint in them. Lead-based paint is not a problem to us here. I'm talking about the students and myself. As adults, it's not a problem to us. Who is it a problem to? Children. It's a problem to children. See, here's what happens. When paint flakes and peels off the walls, children will pick up the paint chips and they start eating the paint chips. The paint chips have a very, very sweet taste to them. Tastes like sugar. So actually what the children would do will go to the walls, peel the paint off the walls and start chewing it. The problem with children, it gets in their blood system very, very quickly. It attacks their nervous system and destroys millions of their brain cells. See, a child's brain is not developed, and them losing millions of brain cells, it's horrible brain damage to the child. It doesn't matter. You can feed your child 10 times a day. They pick up things off the floor and they put it in their mouth. Because of the sweet taste, they will actually go and peel that off. Now, it is a requirement in the state. It's a federal law, so this is required throughout the entire United States. Anyone that buys a home before 1978, anyone that rents an apartment in a building built before 1978, they must get the lead-based paint disclosures and a pamphlet on the hazards of lead-based paint. I don't know if you ever heard this term. It's called huffing. These are where these teenagers get to spray aerosol paint and they spray into a plastic bag and they're huffing it. And it's very addictive. You know, they get that high, but it's very addictive. And what happens to them? It destroys millions of their brain cells, and their brains shrink down to a size of a large baseball. That's what happens to their brain. And they actually become complete morons. They can't even walk from here to the door. So that's a real big problem. There's something else. The number one cause of hearing loss for children is someone walking in your home with their shoes on. Here, what happens? Paint flakes and peels off these buildings. Someone comes to your house, they wipe down their shoes, but they're not getting all the dust particles off of it. And as they walk across the carpeting, you know, children play on the carpeting, their toys are there. That's how they're ingesting that lead. The number one cause of hearing loss for children is lead-based paint. Just to let you know, the purpose of lead in paint, there were several reasons. One reason was it made the colors brighter. It made the paint dry faster. It made the paint will fill in the cracks in the wall. And let's see, it dries faster, made the colors brighter, fills in the cracks in the wall. And God, now I forgot the other thing why they used lead in paint. Oh, it made it last longer. That was the other reason. Now, lead is used in nail polish and lipstick. It's used in many lipsticks and nail polish have lead in it. It makes the colors real bright. So ladies, listen to me out there. You're killing us men, you know, with that kiss of death. You put that lipstick, you give us a kiss, you're killing us. Take it easy on us. Another way for children that are exposed to lead is that even if your walls are nice and tight, by opening and closing windows and doors, you're putting the dust particles on there. How children are ingesting that now, you know, the parent will make a sandwich for that child, and opening and closing doors, the dust settles, you know, comes throughout the house, and that's how children are ingesting lead now. It is a big problem. Now, let's talk about, I think, remember, 1978 is the year to remember. Just to let you know, lead is found in gasoline. Unleaded gasoline has lead in it. Also, at one time, the entire city of Chicago water pipes were lead pipes. Now they change all the lead pipes to copper pipes, not copper, I'm sorry, cast iron. But sometimes the feed lines from the main line to the house, they have lead in it too. So there is lead in water pipes as well. If you remember the last couple of years, all the lead in the water in Flint, Michigan, and it does cause brain damage to people. That's what lead does. Let's talk about radon. Highlight, put an X by that. Radon is a radioactive gas that comes from uranium, it comes from shale and other rocks in the ground. It's a heavy gas that usually only accumulates in the basement area. It's not a hazard when it's outside. Now, newer homes today have more radon than older homes. Why? Newer homes are more tightly insulated and sealed, and that when the radon seeps in through the cracks in the basement floor or the foundation, it doesn't escape. Older homes are draftier. They generally have less radon attached to them. It is a requirement in the state of Illinois that any home that's sold, the seller of the property has to give the buyer a radon disclosure, and if they have any reports, chances are they don't, but they do, they have to give it to them. This is required on any residential property. Well, if there's no basement, still required. What about a condo? Up to the third floor, yes. Above the third floor, you don't need it. Fourth floor up, you don't need it. But up to the third floor, yes, you need a radon disclosure. Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer, right after cigarette smoking. So let's go on to UFFI, I believe. Yep, formaldehyde. Highlight, put X by the next three paragraphs where it says formaldehyde. Formaldehyde, also called UFFI. A lot of times on a state exam, you're going to see the initials UFFI. It stands for urea formaldehyde foam insulation. Now, formaldehyde is embalming fluid. Is what undertakers use to preserve dead bodies. Formaldehyde is a chemical that's used to blend Scotch whiskey. Urea formaldehyde is used in every single domestic beer brewed in this country. Imports don't have it. Imports do not have it. Formaldehyde is a chemical that's used to decaffeinate coffee, tea, and soda. Formaldehyde is used in every single cleaning product you have in your home right now. Your Tide, your Windex, your SOS pads, your Spick and Span 409, they all have urea formaldehyde in it. Urea formaldehyde, well, United States produces billions and billions and billions of tons of urea formaldehyde every single year. Urea formaldehyde represents 6% of the gross national product of our country. Urea formaldehyde. How many of you like the smell of a new carpeting? You know that new carpeting smell? What you're breathing is urea formaldehyde. You ever walk in a furniture store? You know how that new sofa smell is, or that new mattress smells like? You like that smell? What you're breathing is urea formaldehyde. How many of you like the smell of a new car? You like the smell of a new car? Let me tell you what you're breathing. You're breathing urea formaldehyde. It's not good for you. Never buy carpeting, furniture, or a new car in the wintertime. You buy in the spring and summer where you can air it out, because the longer it's there, the less of a hazard it is. It's not good for you. You know, they, you like that, huh? You like that smell, Lizette? Okay. A lot of us like it. I mean, a lot of us like that new car smell. They even sell in a gas station that new car smell. I don't even know what the hell they're selling, but that's what they do. Now, the number one chemical to dry clean clothes is urea formaldehyde. You, as a licensed agent, you have to be careful about selling a home near a dry cleaning plant because of the formaldehyde. Okay, got a question. I've always hated the smell. Now I know why. That's right. Some people can't stand that smell. So, all right, let's go to the next paragraph. Carbon monoxide. I want you to highlight, put an X by that. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless gas that comes from unclean burning of fuel. Now, carbon monoxide will actually get you nauseated. Carbon monoxide can put you in a coma, and carbon monoxide will kill you. There are 3,000 accidental carbon monoxide deaths every year, every single year. It is a requirement in the state of Illinois that every single residential dwelling must have a carbon monoxide detector. I've been in a lot of homes. I look around and I don't see a carbon monoxide detector. I told the owner, you need a carbon monoxide detector. It's required by state law. He goes, Sam, I do have one. I go, I didn't see it. There it is up on the wall. No, that's not a carbon monoxide detector. It's a smoke detector. Yeah, but Sam, it's the same thing. No, you're an idiot. It's not your whole family will die and you will never know it because that's a smoke detector. They're two different things. A lot of idiots out there. So it is a requirement to have that. If you're selling a property, they got to have the carbon monoxide detector. It's a good idea to have more than one outside the bedroom, one near the furnace. That's what they need. Now let's go to the next page, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs down. Electromagnetic fields. Highlight, put an X by that one. Electromagnetic fields. EMFs, they're called. Any electrical current is producing an EMF. These big transformers in the alley are producing EMFs. These big silver towers in the suburbs, they're producing EMFs. Your computer right now in front of you, right now, is producing EMFs. Lights, TV, cell phones, any electrical current produces electromagnetic fields. Now, what you need to know, and it's in the middle of this paragraph, I told you to highlight and put an X by. Electromagnetic fields are suspected of causing cancer. They're not proven of causing cancer. They're suspected of causing cancer. Let's go to this next paragraph. Let's talk about mold. Now, right now, there's over 2,000 different types of mold. There's mold that grows in sunlight. There's mold that grows in darkness. There's mold that grows in dampness. There's mold that grows in dry air. Now, it seems like a lot of newer homes today have more mold than older homes. Why? Because they build these bathrooms. They don't have the windows. They don't have the proper ventilation. They have more mold than older homes. It seems like the generation of children today are so sensitive, I should say, to allergies and stuff like that. They walk into a place and the windows aren't open and they start swelling up and coughing and hacking and everything else. These children have no defenses right now, and this is a fact from pediatricians telling parents. A lot of parents, here's what it is, and I'll tell you what the pediatrician says. A lot of parents are afraid to take their young children to pre-nursery or to preschool because what happens when they go? Every week they come home, they're getting sick. Kids' noses running, they're touching each other's face and everything else. And every week that child is coming home sick. Well, pediatricians said that those children that go to these preschool and nurseries and everything that are sick every week, guess what? They don't have any problems later on in their life. Why? They're building these immunities. These children that are sheltered by their parents, those children have nothing but problems their entire life, their entire adult life. Now, I grew up in a different generation. When I grew up, we didn't have I mean, we had TV. Okay, I wasn't born, when the cavemen were around. We had TV, but we only had 4 channels. Only 4 channels. So, and there was a bunch of crap on TV. So, I mean, I'm telling you, our parents didn't know where we were. We were out all day long. I mean, early in the morning. I'm talking about 7, 8 years old. We leave about 7 in the morning, didn't come home till 9, 10 o'clock at night. You throw a sandwich in one pocket, a couple apples in the other, and you're out all day long. Parents never knew. We were always in trouble. Cops knew us, man. Cops knew us by name. I got hit, I'm telling you, about 200 times by cops for fighting, for breaking in, everything. You won't believe this stuff. So now, I mean, I'm talking about the previous generation, my generation. They don't get sick as much because they have these deficiencies. My wife and a family nurse practitioner, uh, when we let the kids run around, they used to get sick. Now they rarely get sick. That is absolutely true. That is scientific. That's absolutely true. Brian, your Uncle Wally knew the police very well, very, very well. I can't tell you some of the stories about your Uncle Wally. I know exactly what happened to him. Your grandmother, oh, I'm telling you, your grandmother. Well, I'll tell you real quick. She felt she had authority over the police. Wally, I'm talking about 12 years old, hands on the hood of the car. Police are searching him. I'm telling you, Brian, your grandmother's walking down the street with shopping bags of groceries, sees Wally there, sees a policeman there, ignores the cop. Wally, you go home now. Cop says, your mom, huh? Wally says, yeah. Cop said, I think I'm going to let you go. Wally says, no, take me to jail. You don't know my mom. Take me to jail. I swear to God that happened to him. The cops knew him. When they lived on Maplewood, nothing but factories around there. It's getting a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. I was with them for a lot of it too. So I know. So, but we had a lot of fun. Cops knew us. They used to, you know what they used to do, cops? They used to, in Chicago, they catch us messing around. We lived by Humboldt Park at one time. They'd drive us all the way to Oak Park, make sure we had no money, make us walk home. I'm telling you, you walk home from Oak Park back to Humboldt Park on a hot summer day, I'm telling you, you are done. You are no more trouble at all. I'm telling you, I got hit by a lot of cops too for lying to them, everything else. But we were glad they hit us because if they brought us home, our parents would beat us. I still have knuckle marks in my skull and my head from my dad. From used to hit me with his fist. I do. I'm telling you, I'm surprised I'm not a mass murderer or something like that. I told my dad when I was an adult, I told him, I says, they used to beat me and everything when I was a kid. If I called 911, well, they didn't have 911 in those days, but if I called 911, I says, you would have gone to jail. Here's what my dad says to me. You have to call 911 twice. One for the cops who show up and one for the paramedics. Hope the paramedics show up first because that's who you need. You would need. That's true. That's the way the guys were tough. And Brian, I knew your grandfather very, very well. He was a tough guy too. Good guy, great guy, but tough. Now, groundwater protection. When it rains, the water is a filter system. Not the water. When it rains, the dirt is a filter system. The dirt filters out the impurities in the water. Then the water gets trapped between rocks, and then they sink a well and they pump it out and drink it. Now, well water used to be the best water, country water. It's not like that anymore. Because over the decades, farmers are using more pesticides and insecticides on their crops. That what's going on, that even though the dirt filters out the impurities in the water, it's not getting all of them in there. There's a lot of impurities in well water today, especially on the farms. Now, here's something that you need to know, and this might be surprising, but this is a fact as well. The city of Chicago tap water is the best drinking water in this entire country. Well, except for Alaska. Alaska has the best drinking water. Tap water from Lake Michigan. It's the best drinking water in this country. Tap water out of Lake Michigan is better than 90% of the bottled water that we buy. And you don't believe that, you can look it up. It is a fact. So. Okay, let's that. Thank you. So just to let you know. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, occasionally I get this thing under underground storage tanks. Now, what you need to know, underground storage tanks, if more than 10% of the tank or pipe is underground, they have to register their tanks with the federal government because they're worried about the leaks and the corrosion and all that stuff. Now, you could go over these requirements here. It's kind of rare that you get them. Now, let's talk about CERCLA. Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act, CERCLA. The next 3-4 paragraphs highlight, put X's by them. Now, CERCLA was created by the federal government in 1980. It was called the Superfund. And they put in $9 billion to respond to hazardous spills. Now, this $9 billion was supposed to last 5 years. This $9 billion was spent in 6 months. Right now, Congress appropriates, I don't know how many billions, I don't know how many billions of dollars 2 or 3 times a year, because they have to keep this money there in case there's a oil spill or some type of hazardous spill. That's what it's for. Now, under the Superfund, they can hold the liability could be the current owner, and they could go to the previous owners, whether or not they even knew about the hazardous spill. Now, there is something that usually shows up on a state exam. Here's the question. You bought some vacant land. They used to house a gas station. What is required? The answer is a phase 1 environmental audit. I'm going to repeat the question because that's the question word for word. You bought some vacant land. They used to house a gas station. What is required now? A phase 1 environmental audit. The buyer has to pay for a phase 1 audit to show if there's any contaminations, leaks from the gas tanks that are underground. That's what it is. So, because of a gas station starts leaking, it could cost a lot of money, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for the cleanup, because they have to remove all the contaminated soil, has to be disposed of property, to take it all the way out to Arizona. They dispose in a desert in Arizona, let it dry out in the heat. But that's what you need to be aware of. Okay, phase 1 environmental audit. In fact, the bank is not even going to bring the loan up to committee until they get a phase 1 environmental audit. So, okay, I think that should be the end of this chapter. Yep, that is. Liability of real estate agent licensees, you can highlight, put X by that. Again, you as a licensed agent, none of you are experts in these environmental issues. You have your clients that has concerns about them. Your job is to get them to the right resources, to get them to the website so they can search that information themselves. I do not want to hear about any agent saying that, oh, don't worry, we haven't had lead-based paint since '78. No, you might have 20 coats of paint on there, but this house was built before '78. I guarantee there is lead-based paint there. So do not give the wrong advice. The mold, sometimes homes have mold. You know what agents tell their clients? Oh, just spray a little bleach on there and wipe it out. It's going to go away. It doesn't go away. It comes right back. Do not give any wrong advice. You tell them to get the proper licensed authorities to abatement companies to get rid of any of those health hazards. I mean, it's a health hazard. That's the end of this chapter. I hope I didn't scare you about all these health hazards. I hope I didn't.